All right, what's up, you guys? We got Owen Nurminen in the house today. We're going to be talking about personal branding, and we didn't really have any topics or anything in particular we wanted to talk about. We wanted to just jump on here, give you guys some value. I wanted to hear a little bit more about his story. So without further ado, tell him what's up, bro.
How's it going, everyone? I'm Owen. I've been running a couple offers. I was a UGC creator for a bit, and now I've kind of switched to personal branding just because there's honestly a lot more value. But, kind of taking that skill from UGC and content and then leveraging it to grow your personal brand is what I'm doing now.
And how long have you been creating content? I know that you're putting out YouTube videos every day, and I know your personal brand is really blowing up right now. So, how long have you been, growing?
Honestly, it's been, I started when I was like 6. I posted my first YouTube video, like my friends and I playing basketball. But I didn't, I kind of stopped that for a bit. I started recording myself playing COD. I was a huge gamer. And so I joined a Call of Duty team with like 50,000 subs on YouTube when I was like 10 or 11. And I would just film that stuff all the time. I played sports. I posted through college. And then I played Fortnite professionally, and that's when I started streaming, clipping my stuff, posting on TikTok and stuff like that. Took it a little bit more serious. I had my first pro event, WSOE3 in California. And then I went to college, kind of got burnt out from gaming, and started posting TikToks like very heavily doing fitness stuff. And that's how I got my first brand deals, and then, basically led to where we are now.
So you've just always been in front of the camera and stuff, just like to
It's fun.
put stuff out
Like,
there.
I really enjoy it.
Yeah. Dude, that's funny you say that. Like, I never got all the way into like the esports and like the actual competitive stuff, and I was never very good at it either. Actually, always raged at the games because I'm sort of a sore loser when it comes to video games. If I'm not winning, I don't want to play. But I always did the same thing. I always was like, let me get a streaming kit. When I was like 8, 9 years old, when Minecraft was big, I got a streaming kit and started streaming myself and making YouTube videos. I remember being a kid, and me and my sister, we had made a video, like a Lego challenge that went semi-viral, and we like fell back onto these like Legos.
Yeah.
And
You got that first hit of dopamine from going viral, and then after
oh,
that,
it was insane. After that, I was like, all right, Mom, I need to get a camera. And I bought a camera. Funny thing is, I never even made YouTube videos with the camera. I used the camera and just got really into like photography and stuff like that. But I've always had one around too, dude.
yeah.
So you said you got into like the working out content and stuff like that. Like you don't do too much of that anymore, I've noticed, yeah?
Yeah, it's not a huge part of my life anymore, to be honest. What I've noticed is I try to keep things fun for me and like obsessive. And if I have to work out this time every day, then I'm not going to even get a good lift in. I'm not going to care. And I honestly think it takes away from production for what I'm actually trying to do, which is grow my socials, be successful in business. It's important to be in shape and do that stuff. But a lot of people I see kind of, prioritize the wrong thing in my mind. Like, you have to do revenue generating activities. I'm not a bodybuilder, so I shouldn't put all my time into lifting. You know what I mean? It just doesn't.
Yeah, exactly. Just like being intentional about the things that you're like kind of focused on. That's me too. I definitely would like to work out more. I don't work out as much as I should, but I do like to focus on just being healthy and more than anything, kind of like you said, what we're building right now, we're in like a digital gold rush, and it doesn't make sense for us to be half in on this thing, focused on, one thing and not focused on this thing when we have
Right.
so much potential right here.
When you went to WAP, did you talk to Brett Malinowski?
I didn't get the chance to. No, I didn't even see him.
Okay, so
Did you?
he gave a speech, and someone asked him after. They're like, "Hey, Brett, like, what's your routine like as a creator who's very successful and all this stuff?" And he's like, "I don't have a routine. He's like, I just work. And he's like, all this routine stuff, and like, it just doesn't matter." And that was the confirmation I needed, where it's like, people are telling me like, "Oh, you have this routine and discipline," and then when you're seeing the very successful people, they only do what they love. Like, do you think Elon is like, "Oh, I gotta make sure I lift," right? It's like, no.
Right here at this time, right? No, of course not.
Yeah. So.
No, I love Brett's podcast. He's got a really good podcast, and I'm glad that you said that, because literally I've been kind of in this internal battle with myself over the last like month or two of like, I need to get a solid routine going, because sometimes I honestly feel like I work myself so hard. I wake up, get right to work. Like yesterday, I woke up, it was like 8 o'clock, and then I didn't get off the computer till like 8 o'clock, and I was like, dang, I just worked a 12-hour shift. But at the end of the day, like, I know in the beginning of all of this that sometimes it's just what you gotta do. I feel like 9 times out of 10, I go on social media and I see these guys and they're like, we're building a 1-hour work week business. And I'm like, but are you really working an hour? Like,
No. No.
really working an hour,
No.
you know?
Yeah, it doesn't even make sense to. I mean, how much of it for you is like you like to do this versus you're forcing yourself to?
Yeah, no, very true. So you said that you are putting out like 5 shorts a day. How do you manage to get out 5 pieces of content every single day? And how are you like managing to make that much?
Yeah, so I found out social media short form was about volume pretty early on. I was watching Lucas Pachter. I don't know if you know him.
Yeah, he's
On
awesome.
TikTok. Yeah, yeah.
Good
So,
host.
Scoothouse, yeah. And so, he was posting like 10 times a day. He was posting every hour for like a year or something like that, or like 5, 10 times a day. And I was like, oh, so that's what you have to do. I started doing that. I grew my TikTok over 100K. And that's when I had that switch where it was like, that's what you need to do. So in order for me to do that, you have to have a medium of short form that you can easily repeat over and over, almost no thoughts. So for me, it's like 5 second post with text on screen, trending, relatable, shareable type of video, super top of funnel content stuff, right? And then the other one is just talking head, open your phone and just yap about whatever's on your brain for 30 seconds. Text hook on screen, auto captions that are small, long description or caption. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
once I found like a couple of mediums that I was really comfortable with that I could push a lot, then I just locked in on those and kind of like it doesn't make sense for me to go and try to edit and make a super high quality edit. It's like there's no value there. You're not getting all the traction and views. So
I like that you said when you found something that you were comfortable with, because that's really what it comes down to. It's like finding a style that you like and, just really leaning into that and being consistent with that. I like your style because, and I'm kind of taking some inspo from it because you keep it simple. And I love to keep things simple. Like like you just said, you don't worry too much about the super fancy edits and doing all the crazy extra stuff. And like for the longest time, that was my biggest focus. I was like, dude, I got to keep this so perfect. Like it's got to look so perfect. And it seems like for some reason the iPhone videos,
yeah.
like, they seem
Well,
to just
a
do.
big part of it too is, obviously the iPhone stuff's really good for keeping attention because you're moving the phone, and like that's
Yeah.
what I tell my UGC creators is that familiar attention grab thing is really good. But also, who do you look up to in terms of content? Like, who do you look for inspiration in? When I started, like Marcus Milioni doing his little running vlogs, just holding the phone and running.
Yeah.
That's it. Like auto caption, that's it. So for me, it was like, okay, if I resonate with that content the most, then I should probably do that as well. It doesn't make sense for me to go try to be someone I'm not, you know?
No, yeah, totally. I always tell people this. I'm like, find your dream 5. Like, go find the dream 5 people and see among those 5 what all is the same, right? Like, what can you take away from all 5 of those and put into one? And like, let that be, your flow. And if obviously you stick with that for a while, you don't like it or whatever, and it's not working, then maybe lean into something different. But I found too many people will pick a style and then they think that style doesn't work, and then they'll move into a different style, and then it just ends up hurting them in the long run because it's like,
Yeah.
you know,
And I think the funny thing is, it's not even the style really. The style is just for what you're comfortable with. What it really is the visual hook, the text hook, and then what the value, like what the content is. Like if it's not good, it doesn't matter what the style is. It's not going to do well. You
yeah,
know?
exactly. Like I feel like so many people will just talk and talk and talk, and they try to like spam stuff versus like, what did you need to hear? Like, what did I need to hear at one point? Especially like, because I'm teaching people to grow their personal brands. And what's funny is all of the things that I learn are basically the things that I'm teaching. You know what I mean? Because throughout the process, like, let's be honest, everybody is growing their personal brands in the midst of it. And we all learn new tricks and new tactics. And sure, I might have a system that works for me and that works across the board. But like, I'm always implementing and trying new things. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What are some things you've been trying recently?
Well, you just put me on the trial reels, and I've been trying out the trial reels. It seems like it's actually pretty cool. I mean, been putting out 4 of those a day. Like I said, I got like 300 videos in the drafts, and I've been putting out like 4 of those a day. And I mean, they're not doing too much views, but like one of them did like 7,000 views, and I've only been doing that for like 3 or 4 days. And I think it's cool because it drives people who are not actively looking at your page, who have never seen you before. So although maybe I'm not like seeing too much engagement yet, I have been getting some new followers and
Yeah.
people, like I feel like my content kept kind of going in front of the same people, and I'm still putting stuff out on like the regular reels, but I'm definitely doing the trial reels right now. I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, trial reels were really cool. My, clients that I put on to trial reels have seen pretty good success, but you know, a lot of people they get caught up in the number thing. Like, okay, maybe I only got 1,000 views on this reel, or 2 or 3,000 or whatever. But that's why I believe in volume because yeah, if you're doing 1,000 views a day on Instagram, not that good. But if you're doing either 1,000 views a day on YouTube or you're doing, 5 videos at 1,000 views a day on Instagram, then you've increased your leverage significantly. So I just totally believe in volume on short form and long form, honestly.
That's why we just started doing the clippers, and you're doing the clippers too, right?
With Eddie or with Wop's offer.
WAP's got like some kind of clipping offer that they're helping us with for sure.
Yeah,
Um,
I haven't started it yet. I wanted to get a little bit more volume out on YouTube, so I think in a week or so I'll probably rip it. But I need to have like 10, 15 videos, and then we'll be good to go.
yeah, no, I mean it's been good for me so far. Something that's been
Really?
cool is we've got like 8 clippers already, and they're putting out 2 videos on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube every day. And I mean it's only
Incredible.
averaging like 1,000 views, but you got 6 posts a day per person, averaging 1,000 views. Like it's pretty cool what it's doing. And
No.
we just launched a low ticket product, a low ticket recurring product. And for the
For
longest
that.
time, we've been super heavily focused on like high ticket products and just like one-on-one coaching program. And I want to build some monthly recurring revenue. And we launched this low ticket product. And dude, it's already cranking. Like it's crazy to see what way that it
With the
works.
with clipping.
Yeah, I mean, and we've only been doing it for a week, but we've got views and we've already sold like 11 new people into our membership just from
Like
clipping.
ascending them or
They just came through the affiliate links, 11 people.
oh, that's dope. That's
Yeah, it's
crazy.
pretty awesome.
Yeah, I might rip the clipping one to be honest. I've always stayed away from low ticket because I didn't know what was best to give them. Like I put my time into growing the personal brand and then helping clients on fulfillment. And honestly for the past 6 months, I was managing a ton of creatives for brands. And there's a couple big brands I still work with, but that is like the agency model is extremely stressful. It's you're working with huge clients and budgets and contracts and a bunch of different people. I don't really want to do that as much. So I was wondering like how you're funneling people with the clipping offer, because that's interesting.
Actually, I can show you. So let me share my screen.
You can share screen on here. That's crazy.
Uh, yes, I can.
We get a little behind the scenes look into
Yeah, I
stuff.
want to show you. This is cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
Wow. Oh, maybe I'm not actually. It might make me quit.
No.
That's not cool.
Well, it's all good.
Yeah, it's okay. But either way, the way that I'm ascending them is essentially they watch the videos. I have a AI tool that I built. Let me close this. I have an AI tool that I built and I've called it Sky. And essentially Sky is programmed to give them everything that they need as far as like personal branding advice. So hooks, creative direction, analyzing their data, and really just guiding them through how to like craft their personal brand. And then what's really cool about it is at any point, if it asks them a question that's like outside of the parameter of what I want it to answer, it says, hey, if you want further information, I would recommend that you jump into the Stairway to Status, which is our mid-ticket product, which is our like monthly recurring low ticket. It's actually our low ticket, $97 a month. Just that's like our mid-tier offering. And then once they get in there, of course, like if they want extra help, then we obviously have the one-on-one consulting where we'll work directly with you to help grow your personal brand. But we typically don't want to take sales calls. Like I don't know about you, but I started this business for freedom and not to be strapped to like Zoom calls all day, every day. And I kind of found myself in that position last year. I was managing like 30, 40 clients at a time. And then it was just like a lot. And I was coaching everybody. And then I was on top of that taking sales calls. And although, yes, I could have hired a setter or whatever, then I felt like I'm running an agency and my service was just consulting. So it was like, well, I'd rather just build something that is lean, something that brings leads to me, and that low ticket just kind of automatically ascends them. They get the value from me in the low ticket, and then it automatically just kind of naturally drives them into the high ticket.
Yeah, no, that's really cool. I've kind of done a similar thing. So I have a setter and closer on my Instagram, and the closer's fantastic. I mean, this industry standard for high ticket closing is 10%. So, offloading all the sales calls, because we do, 3, 5, 7 max a day or something like that.
Nice.
So being able to, free up my time and not do that, and then have the entire sales process automated to where me as a personal brand business owner, all I know I have to do is make good content. And then after that, like once you're doing, like if I'm doing my job, then the business works. And if I'm not doing my job, then the business dies. And I'm fine with that because ultimately it's a personal brand thing where I get to make content and grow my business, And then sales process is automated. Fulfillment process is mostly automated. We do have multiple coaches that will come in and do group calls and stuff like that. But the whole thing is kind of working. And that's why I was wondering, like, because the personal brand in my mind is great, obviously, for the personal brand. Like, no business involved having a social media with the following is like a major buff. Walking around the city, the things you get, like people talking to you, all of those things are just insane.
Quality of life definitely levels up. Confidence and everything.
Yeah, people don't even know. Like, I try to explain to people, I get people wanting to help me for anything. Like if I posted myself fishing the other day, I had 3 fishing guides reach out offering to take me on their boat for free.
Yep. No, that's so fun.
Like people don't understand. Like I don't even have a big Instagram. It's like 17K. Like
same.
my TikTok's bigger, but TikTok doesn't have as much value, right? Actually, it has like no value. So I don't even post to TikTok anymore. But we could get into that later. But I was wondering, like, is your goal with personal branding for you to run this offer or for your clients to run an offer as well?
Yeah, like I try not to teach people how to build a personal branding offer because I don't want to create direct competitors. But what I want to do is I want to help people, like any entrepreneur, build a personal brand. I kind of had this realization early on that I don't have to be extremely hyper niche. Like I'm kind of in that broad niche where it's like I can either work with artists, I can work with entrepreneurs, or I can work with entrepreneurs. And then there's the guys that work with, let's just say coaches or consultants. That was my initial niche, was like coaching and consulting. Now I pretty much just work with any entrepreneur to help them grow their online presence. My biggest thing is profitable personal branding. I don't just build a personal brand because a personal brand is awesome, but attention means nothing if you can't convert it. So I really like to help people create profitable personal brands by implementing funnel strategies and maybe remapping their offers in a way that works fluently for social media, and then just crafting lead magnets and ultimately helping the entrepreneur build a personal brand that drives sales to whatever their business is, whether they are a brick and mortar business, whether they're an online coaching business, no matter who they are. Like the idea is to really help them drive sales through their story. Ideally, we want to share their story because in a world where everybody is like, saying and doing the same things, and especially if you've got 3 tire shops, for example, down the street, I could drive to any of those tire shops and I could get my tire fixed from any of them. But if my buddy has that tire shop, or somebody I've been watching online and somebody that I know really well has a tire shop, and maybe it's even 5 minutes more away, I'm going to drive the extra 5 minutes away just to go to him because I've been following him and I like him and I resonate with him. And so that's really what we try to just push to people is like, hey, let's make you unique in a world where everybody else isn't.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, storytelling, I'm a Christian, and when I was reading the Bible like for the first time, Jesus just speaks in parables the whole time. Yeah. And it's like, well, he's done a pretty good job of spreading his message across the world for thousands of years, right? So there's something to storytelling that allows people to kind of draw their own conclusions and relate to you without you pushing anything, even though you are. So storytelling is really the most indirect and successful way, I think, to grow your personal brand, for sure.
Something I've learned or even noticed, I guess you could say, is people that read the Bible, for some reason, typically are also better at telling stories. Like my friend Lawson, he's recently like a newfound Christian, and over the last year, he's really been reading the Bible. And it's weird. I've listened to the way that he speaks and the way that he talks and the way that he speaks on his YouTube videos and stuff. He's so much more fluent, like the way that, his words just come out and that he talks. And also, storytelling is so big that I literally brought Lawson on That's my business partner, also my best friend. You probably really like this guy. I have to introduce the two of you. But he is an insane storyteller. He's like my full-time creative director, and he helps with writing all the stories and this stuff. And I don't know if you've seen that video that we did for WAP, but he like wrote out this whole story of it, and it was just like so
Incredible.
good. And they hit. Like every time I watch a video that has a really good story, we helped one of our clients, Arturo. We wrote a video for him, or we helped him write a video, and it did 1 million views. And it's just like literally cranking sales right now, because in this video the whole time he says like, here's where I was, here's where I'm at now, and here's where I plan to go. And this is my journey going from 10 million to $100 million, and I want you guys to follow along. And like if you watch it, it just like makes you want to be a part of this guy's experience. And if there's anything that I've learned through just like going through this, because when I started, I had no idea. Like I was just throwing shit at the wall, trying to learn personal branding while still selling personal branding. And now I feel like cracked it. But if there's anything I've learned, it's that your story is the most important part. You could have an iPhone 4S and still be making videos, and people might look at it and be like, what kind of quality is that? But if you're telling a good story, they're still going to connect with you.
Yeah, 100%. And there's something to be said for the personal brand, like all of that stuff. I mean, that WAP video, Lawson, I talked to Lawson a little bit on DM.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that when I watched that video, it's like, this is so good. Like, this is like, you know what I mean? It was really well done.
So did you write that script for your video?
I kind of go by bullet points for the most part, and then just do like voiceover piece by piece, you know?
Yeah.
It wasn't like that good of a story, to be honest with you. Like it was more like, yeah, I mean, again, I probably should have put more effort into that, to be honest with you. But I was trying to like color grade with S-Log and stuff because my videographer shot it, but
Yeah.
I wanted to just like edit it to make it like how I wanted to, which
That's the beauty of being a creative. Like we're the same in that way.
yeah, but like, you know, I definitely, when I watched your guys', I was like, oh man, this is incredible. Like he did such a good job telling that story.
If it makes you feel any better, I gave Lawson your video and I said, whatever we do, we got to make it better than this guy's.
He did. I mean,
I said,
you know,
this guy's video is phenomenal, and whatever we do, we just need to make something better than his. I don't know how. I'm going to put faith into you, bro. I know that you can do it. So just so you know, I literally was like, whatever, Lawson, you can do to just like find way to like do something, because I thought it was so good. So definitely don't worry about it too much. And I think no matter what, it's like so authoritative, especially seeing that. Like I thought that was a really cool thing that they did, but I also think for people like us who are building our personal brands, yes, anybody that uses WAP knows that sure, all you had to go do is make $3,000 to get there. But at the same time, to be in New York City, Times Square, and anybody that sees that coming in just like quick traffic, they still look at that and they think, wow, like that's super cool. And these guys are doing, we are doing it. You know what I mean? We really are doing it. There was a point I was like looking at the billboard and I was like, damn, it says 3K in 30 days. And I was like, these people are going to think we made $3,000. But I was like, you know,
yeah.
we really know what's going on. So tell me a little bit about your business. How do you directly help people?
Yeah. So, well, thank you again for saying that about the video. I appreciate it. The WAP team is great. I love them. But, you know, for my business specifically, the first thing I did was, you know, literally this time last year, I had a breakup and I lost my main brand deals because I was just a creator. I had no idea. Like, I was obviously like, okay, I'll grow the personal brand and money will come. Like, I understood that concept. So that's what I did is I grew the personal brand. I ended up getting the brand deals and stuff. I was making 10 to 20K a month through the Creator Rewards program. I was killing that program on TikTok. But I had a massive breakup. You know, my ex was a bigger influencer than I was. All of her friends were bigger influencers than I was. This nuked my engagement. Like, it was so bad. Like, every time I'd post, it was just hate comments. So I was like, you know what, fuck this. I'm doing online business. You know, so I switched to it. The first thing I did was like, all right, well, my core competency is UGC. Like, I've worked with Whoop, Lululemon, Kane Footwear, massive fitness brands. I worked with like one of the biggest short form agencies in Austin. You know, ran by Brian Blum, who's like a very big organic marketer guy. And so I knew all this stuff, but I was like, okay, I'm going to run an agency. I'm going to manage creators for brands. And I'm just going to get the best creators I can because I still have a lot of good connections with creators. So I did that, and that was good. That was like my first online business income separate from just content, managing creators for brands, getting a rev split on how well those creators were performing, getting a monthly budget, like that kind of thing. And then I was talking to Nick Rogers, who was actually like my online coach for business. I paid him $5,800 because I didn't know anything about online business. So I was like, all right, like this is going to be like my resource. I'm going to, talk to this guy all the time. And he's like, you're charging brands, right? And I was like, yeah. He's like, why aren't you charging the creators? He's like, you're giving them these opportunities to make thousands of dollars every month. He's like, people would pay for that, And I was like, oh yeah. So that's when I switched it, and I had the two-sided marketplace. So Nick actually because now most of my income does come from B2C because there's way more people that can do that. And the agency side of managing creators is a huge headache. So, he helped me out a lot. And that's why I also believe in education, because a year ago I didn't know this stuff. Like so many people are like, oh, I know that. And it's like, okay, then why aren't you doing it?
Why don't you do it?
You don't know it, and it's fine. That's normal. Like I feel very comfortable saying I don't know most things. That's like, people will help me out if I say that. You know what I mean? So now, basically, I ran the UGC creator community, got it over 300 members, and all of those creators are getting brand deals. I post every week. I post like 3 to 5 brand deals. So
tons of results.
They apply. They get whatever brand that they want to pick from on that week. They apply to it. I send those creators to the brands. Sometimes the brands pay me if I charge. Sometimes I don't because I'm just trying to work with brands to make sure my creators are going to good places. So yeah, and then what I realized was like, okay, the creator community is good, and I built up this community doing 30, 50K a month. It's like, okay, now how do I get from that to 100K? Started running ads, doing a little bit of that. That did well, gave me a boost. But then I was like, a lot of these creators are good and they're really good at content, but what would make more sense for them? And it's probably running their own offer. So I was helping these creators who are really good at content and UGC and making videos promoting products and stuff for brands. But I was like, all right, well, now you're going to promote for yourself. And so I sent it a couple people, and then I opened it up to people that I thought were good fits that already had personal brands to launch their own offers. And so I kind of helped them build out their sales process, help them with fulfillment. I'm onboarding everyone to WAP, so I get a percentage of the lifetime revenue there. And so, yeah, I kind of opened up the other offer, kind of more of a priority now because I think personal branding in terms of technology and AI, like I'm already seeing pretty decent AI UGC that brands are using. And it's like, I'm not even going to feel comfortable selling this in like 3-6 months because of how good tech is improving. But one of the last modes of, things that I don't think will be overcome is personal branding, taste, authenticity. Those things I think will be, kind of the last moat. Even coding and distribution on that side of things, I think that will be probably overtaken by AI. So basically what I'm helping people do now in short is just building the personal brand and then also monetizing it. Helping them with the sales process, systems, and fulfillment so that they can do content as a full-time creator, but it's actually a business. You know what I mean?
Yep. So, and then, is it like a group? Is it one-on-one? How does it work?
Yeah, so it's one-on-one. I don't work with very many people in the personal branding offer one-on-one really, because I have to make sure that they are good creators, and it's very rare that I'll take someone on that has like no experience. I have to know that they actually like this, because if they don't like content, then it's not going to work. Because you know what I mean. So I don't even bother.
Believe me, I know. Last year I had 3 people that disputed and ended up just like refunding, and that was like $15K refunded from all.
You have to work with the right people.
$15K each. It was like $45K last year that I had total refunded. It was ridiculous off of 3 clients, and that is like, and it was because they didn't enjoy it. They weren't having a good. They really didn't. To be honest with you, they didn't get any results. Not that it wasn't my fault. I mean, everybody else that actually applies the information got the result, but these guys, they didn't care about it. And I should have known that from the beginning, and that was kind of a lesson that I had to learn the hard way, was like, not everybody's going to be a good fit, and not everybody's actually built to be a content creator or be like a contentpreneur, we like to say. So, yeah, I mean, I totally get you there. I would say for me this year, I'm on the same path. Like, I don't want to take on too many people in that one-on-one space, because it's like, if I'm taking on 40, 50 people, I can't give you my all, and there's no way that I'm going to help you get the result that I know you need. So if I can take on 10 and I can help 10 people really, really, really hone in on their personal brands and take it to the next level at a time, 10 people at a time. Because like right now, I've maximized my schedule to where I only have to take coaching calls on Mondays, and if for whatever reason we have to reschedule, we're rescheduling to Wednesday. And if you can't make it Wednesday, I'll see you next week. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I'm just trying to give my all to everybody and make sure that everybody can grow. And it's really easy to, get lost in the sauce, I guess you could say.
So you're only working with like entrepreneurs that like content, basically.
Maybe they don't have to like content. I'm going to make them love it because I didn't like it at first. But you got to be well-spoken, and you got to be enthusiastic, and you got to know that you want to do this and that you don't just need to do this. Too many people come to me knowing that they need to do content but don't want to do it at all, and I've learned to just tell those people no.
Yeah. Yeah, so you're ripping a 15K offer for...
Not anymore. I've cut the price to 10K.
It's crazy.
Yeah. But it's also, it was 15K, and then what it was after the 15K, it was 15K for 4 months, and then after that, it was just a $2,000 upkeep fee, because the first 4 months we were really installing all the systems, and then after that it's just $2,000 a month to maintain the mentorship and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm not doing that as much anymore. It's 10K 4 months, and after that, if you want to keep working with me, it's still going to be $2,500 a month, because
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do not think though that after 4 months, I can sit around and give you all the knowledge and all the information to like learn about this stuff, but after 4 months, you should have a pretty dang good understanding of what it takes and like what to implement. After that, it's really just about being consistent and sticking to your flow.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, it might take some people 6 months or 12 months, but that doesn't mean you don't know what to do by 4 or 3.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, Arturo, it took us 12 and a half months for us to even hit 100K followers. And now he's got 120,000 followers. He does like 6 million views a month, and he's making hundreds of thousands of dollars. When we first started, he was only doing, or he's actually making millions of dollars. He's making hundreds of thousands of dollars a month. Let me rephrase myself. When we first started, he had 900 followers, he's doing right at 100 grand a month, and it's crazy to see where he's at now. Like,
that's such a good niche, because you're working with people that are super competent. You know what I mean?
They have to be.
Right. Yeah, I agree. But also, like, they've already been through ups and downs, and they understand that whole process. They're not expecting like, oh, this is tomorrow I'm going to get insane results. They're like, oh, I'm an entrepreneur. I've been through shit. I know this is just part of it. I understand how to learn. Like, I don't know if you've ever seen that graph, but it's like beginning, like it's like a XY graph. And on the Y, maybe it's like this for you, but on the Y, the, like experience is on the bottom and then confidence is on the top. And it's like, when you just start, you have no experience, tons of confidence. And then as time goes on, your confidence goes down because you're like, fuck, I don't know this, a lot of stress. But once you get through that, then your experience level goes way up and your confidence goes way up,
Dude, that's good right there.
Yeah.
Thank you for saying that. And I've never seen that graph, but last year, I started my business last year, like me personally, and I had that confidence. I was like, I'm going to crack 100K a month this year. I know for sure I am. And I had the confidence, and I bought, last year I'm embarrassed to tell you how much money I spent on coaching last year, but I literally spent so much money, and all these coaches, they would tell me more and more and more, and I would implement more and more and more and more, until eventually I just had all this knowledge and no idea how to use it all. And I kept thinking, he told me to do this, but he told me to do this. What about this? And am I still doing this? And then eventually it was like, fuck, man, what do I do? Like, what do I actually do? Yeah. And then I kind of stripped everything. I was like, what worked in the beginning? What was the one thing that got you to 35 grand a month? Because I went from 35K a month, and like I used to be like ashamed to say this, but like I went from 35 grand a month to 3 months later doing a $5,000 a month, and like basically shitting my pants, thinking, "Am I about to
I
go
had
out
the
of
same thing
business?"
happen to me. Same thing happened
I,
to me.
I was literally living in this place, and this place cost us 5 grand a month. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, like, am I gonna make it this month? I went and got a credit card and somehow did, but like I literally pulled through, and it was that same kind of feeling where I had all the confidence, but the more experience I got, it started to deplenish. And now I'm at that point now where it's like, okay, I've stripped things bare, I'm keeping it simple, and I'm just gonna kind of ride this linear wave for as long as I can, in knowing that it will go down at some point, but just being optimistic for it as much as I can now.
Bro, I mean, I'm gonna make a YouTube video on that graph. I just remembered it, but
Yeah, you need to.
that same thing just happened to me. Like in November, I partnered with a growth operator. I paid him like 6K and like a 20% rev split. Never done that before, right? And I was like, all right, well, like, fuck, I'm kind of stuck here at this 30K, 40K mark. Like, get me to 100K. Like, you say you can do it, let's do it. And he hard shut down all of our offers. And he's like, we're gonna do a hard launch. We're gonna do this type of content. This, that, and the third. We did it, and we basically made no money for like a month, like shutting it down and trying to hype it. And then we released it, and we did like worse than we were doing before because we like.
You lost traction.
Momentum. There was no
People
momentum.
were like, where'd they go?
Yeah, exactly. And people come to you to buy, and you're like, nope, we're not doing it right now. Like, it's the worst thing ever. And that was a growth operator. And so that's when I was like, all right, I'm going back to what works. I know what works. And then that's when I had in my mind to cut out the agency side. It's like, I was bottlenecked with time on shit that's not making me that much money. Let's pour the time back into stuff that's actually producing. And so that was the big thing for me that helped me, like, it gives you more time to think. Like, you just need time to think sometimes too.
I had a guy that I was watching, Tom Noski, on YouTube. He says the same thing. If you've got it, pull it down, relaunch it. Dumbest decision I made. No, like truly one of the dumbest decisions that I made. So I'm feeling you there. Truly I feel you there. Actually, it was right after I was like, all right, I'm on a slow decrease. It was like 35 grand. Actually, it was 37K was my best month. And then the next month we did like 20 grand. And I was like, oh, wait a second. Am I going to be okay? And I did the same thing. I shut it down for about 3 weeks, reset up all my stuff because I was doing agency services too. I was actually shooting content for people, going to them. I was shooting content for them and doing all of it for them, editing and everything. And then I was like, no, wait a second. I don't want to do that. I'm going to start consulting people, shut it all down. And then the next month it was like, I think I did 11K or something like that. And then it was 5 grand the next month. And I was like, gosh, Blake, you've got to figure this out fast. Like, fast. It's weird though, when you get put in those tight positions, man, it really shows you who wants it bad enough. Like, I've got buddies that have straight up gotten in those positions. They lost their apartments. They've totally given up on themselves, and they're back to working their regular jobs. And I'm like, dude, like, you were doing it. You were making 20 grand a month. What happened?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's going to be ups and downs. So if you've never been through that, and that's another important thing with storytelling, if you can talk to people about your downs and how they helped you, I think that's a great message that people can relate to too, because everyone goes through the downs. I mean, most people are in them right now, to be honest.
Key lesson. If you're watching this, listen to him. He's right. If you are making and building your personal brand, don't just show the wins. Don't just showcase all the good in life. Like, tell people what's going on. Be raw, be real, because people want to like find ways to connect with you. And not everybody's winning. Some of us are in the slumps, and even what we put on the internet, maybe if it seems like we got the best lives ever, we're stressing. We've got our own problems, and you do too. And make sure that you're sharing that stuff with people.
Yeah, the stress is always gonna be there. I heard this quote one time, and it was like, the worst thing that's ever happened to you is the worst thing that's ever happened to you. So if you have the best life ever, you live in Beverly Hills, born and raised, super rich, spoiled, you're a girl, you break your nail, you're gonna cry because it's like the worst thing that's happened in your day, right? So that level of stress is the same for pretty much everyone, and you can just take on more things, So.
Yep. I had a stress so bad earlier this year. See, it's also really important to just relax and know that like God's gonna make it work. And even if whatever the situation is. Obviously, I'm not telling you guys to like relax and not do anything, but just calm down a little bit, because there was a point last year where I was stressed so much that I was losing hair. My hair was falling out in patches, top and around, and it was like really embarrassing. And I literally was like, all right, dude, there's only one thing that you can do in order to fix this, and that is to stress less. And I kept thinking, what can I remove from my business? What can I remove from my business? And now today, my business operates so smooth. I do less than I've ever done before, and I also stress less than I've ever stressed before. So there's a lesson to be had in that.
Yeah, I love that. I was listening to Founders Podcast too, and just Elon's story, and all his a couple of his girlfriends have told people that he would just wake up and yell like with night terrors because he's so stressed and scared, just full asleep and just wake up yelling. And they're like, what the hell? And it's like, the more stress you can take on, that capacity for pain, just the more potential you have for success, really.
I think I barely sleep. instead of night terrors, I'm just like night eyes open, thinking, what's the next move?
Yeah.
So before we wrap this up, bro, what is like one thing for anybody that's watching this, if you could tell them, hey, do this, this is going to help you the most in building your personal brand, what would you tell them?
You kind of touched on it earlier, find your dream 5, and then from there, once you have to have a North Star of what you want your life to look like. If you have that, just work backwards. If you love George Heaton and his lifestyle brand, then go look at his life. Like, how did he get there? The stories are out there. Go read the stories. I spend a lot of my time reading the Founders Podcast or listening to it, and then working back there. Content and the stuff that we're doing now is great. I love this stuff. I'll probably do it forever. But there's a good chance that I go a different path, and it's okay to do that. And you don't know if that's even okay unless you looked at all these people that have done it before. So spend your time studying, but most importantly, take action. Everyone talks about saturation. Saturation exists in the middle. It doesn't exist on the extremes. The more action you put out, the less competition you have, period. Because people won't be able to compete with an ungodly amount of action.
There you go, bro. Listen, he said it best, guys. Find your dream 5. Your dream 5 is so key. And I think a lot of people forget that mentorship is all around. You can have a mentor that you've never met, somebody that you watch on YouTube, somebody that you take guidance from, somebody that you want to learn from. Like he said, work yourself backwards. And more than anything, don't just copy these people. Share your own authentic story. Just take the key principles of what these people are doing. How are they crafting their styles? How are they crafting their stories? And work those things backwards. Don't just go and say, word for word what they're saying, but go utilize your story, go utilize your experiences, and find ways to implement that into their principles.
Yeah, that's so true. Thank you, Blake. I appreciate it.
Yeah, bro, it was good to have you on. Guys, thank you so much for watching. This was like one of the first times we've ever done one of these digital podcasts. So if you like it, leave us a comment below. Let us know what your thoughts are, and we'll see you in the next one.
Awesome. See you guys.
Peace.